control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off. And as we continue down the saga that is the true cost of building out a concealed carry handgun, go check out my last video if you have not had a chance. I'm going to take this guy from an off-the-shelf Glock and build it out into something that I would consider carryable for me, which means better sights, flashlight, optic on here, extended mag release, probably an extended slide stop on this guy, having the mags, ammunition needed, the type of duty ammo I run into here, and probably upgrading the trigger. I am not a fan of how this trigger feels, but there you go. So this is my Gen 5 Glock 48, or the Slimline Glock 48 in the Skydos Cerakote in burnt bronze. So first up on this guy, when we talk about things that came in the initial look, was the Vortex Defender CCW. Now, the Vortex CCW's got about 9,300 hours of battery life, adjusting 1 MOA increments, comes built like this with a pick rail attachment. I will say what drove me to try one of these is I shot one of these at a recent class, and I was impressed by how much of a field of view I had, how big that piece of glass was on this Vortex. I do have that meat tenderizer front to this guy, meaning that I'm going to be able to rack it off stuff and get some grip when I go to do it. I understand that people have had issues with them. I know it does have a rather slow refresh rate for the LED, which is going to lead to quicker transitions on certain colors of backdrops and certain lighting conditions. The dot will, instead of appearing like a streak, will flicker a little bit. It didn't bother me. It may bother you. Your mileage may vary, but that's where we're going with this guy. So this sits on the RMSc footprint, which makes it a direct mount to my G48 MOS. But one of the things I thought was really cool about this optic, and somewhere it shines that others don't, is you get a little box inside where you get your standard manual for it. You get your 1632 battery. You get a 1-degree shim plate. And you get a really well-made multi-tool. So this multi-tool is actually made out of steel. So I've got a Torx bit up here, keychain, adjustments for wind to elevation, and a battery cap loosener because this is a top load. So with 9,300 hours of battery life, that basically means for me is I'm going to be changing this battery probably every 6 months. Now, if this had an auto shut-off function, that function on that 1 hour without touching it wouldn't be an issue, but it has to be on for like 13 hours before this thing auto shuts down. I don't know why they did that. And with as low as the battery life is, I would have anticipated a better refresh rate. But weren't deal breakers for me, not a problem. But one of the places this optic really, really, really shines for me is this. So you get a stack of screws, and you don't just get 2 screws. For those of you that are new to the red dot game, not too long ago when we bought a red dot, we actually had to go find the screws that we needed with the correct thread pitch and size in order to mount the optic so that it didn't sit too deep and affect the function of the gun. Vortex has taken all the guesswork out of this. So I have 4 screws in every one of these with Loctite already applied. First up would be for the HK VP9 or Kimber Aegis. We've got the 6-32s with a Smith & Wesson 2.0. We've got the M305, so the SIG P365 XL. Then we're going to have four for the Canik TP9 SFX, the SIG 320 M17 M18, or the CZP10 series. Then after that, we're going to have a set for the FN 509. And then for most people out there that are running the Glock family, we're going to be looking at screws for the Glock MOS, the Springfield Hellcat XDM OSP, or the Ruger 5.7. So we get 4 just in case you happen to strip those screws out when you're putting them on. They want to give you extra so that you're not out of the fight or waiting on a screw to come in order to mount this thing. So my initial impressions of this guy, the build quality feels nice. This feels really nice. It's got this polymer cap on the top of the aluminum body, so it dissipates shock if you drop it straight on there. I've seen a lot of torture tests of this optic, and it did not fail. When I shot it, I was very impressed with this, and I was shooting it at the same place we were shooting Ruger SROs, aim point acros, the C&H Precision. And this is one of a few optics that will be tried out on this gun. The other ones will be the C&H Precision EDC, which is a smaller one. On here, we'll be looking at, I believe it is the 507K. And we will also look at, I think it's the ESP carry from Holosun as well. Maybe the RMRcc, we'll have to see. But yeah, so far, this is where we're going to start. I'm really looking forward to it. This sits extremely low. So believe it or not, I hate factory Glock sights, and these will be getting replaced, but it sits so low in the frame that I can actually achieve a lower fifth co-witness with my factory Glock crappy sights. I'll still be replacing these with something in that 290 region, which will give me a true lower third, possibly even absolute. I may have to adjust my heights I'm looking for down into that low twos so that I can get a perfect lower third co-witness without taking up too much of my screen, because something you need to keep in mind when we start dealing with backup iron sights and these optics are, while yes, on a rifle having a co-witnessing iron sights through your red dot is great, because we typically don't have our iron sights up. In this case, they're always in the screen, and if you have a giant blacked out rear sight taking up half of your viewing field, you actually don't get the benefits as much as you would out of a red dot if you had something that took up less of the window space and it was a lower third. So something to keep in mind. Also, I tend to favor at most a high vis front, or just a tritium ampule front with a fully blacked out rear or fully blacked out. I'm an Ameriglow guy, so that'll be what goes on to here. So there you go, guys. My initial impressions of this optic. This was not sent to me for free. Vortex does know who I am. I am a member of like Pro Deal Pricing and stuff, but I had to pay for this with my own money. And if it sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. If I have an issue, I'm going to tell you I have an issue. I will never tell you to go get something that I would not trust and carry myself. That's just how I view the world. We've learned a couple of things with this 48 already, but stay tuned for the full rest of the build-out video. So, guys, this is my initial impressions on the Defender CCW. Stay tuned, because we're going to take this guy out in the next part of this video to the range, get a good zero on it, look at some groups, get some shooting done, have a good time, and I'll give you my final after-range take.